Hello and good evening, everyone. Welcome to this week's incredible new episode of Primetime Gaming with Mr. Boomstick and friends. And of course, I am your host, Mr. Boomstick XL. And obviously, you can hear the excitement in my voice. I haven't podcasted since last Wednesday, and I kind of feel like I've been missing something. And one of the things I enjoy is not only hanging out with the incredible panel I have put together for you each and every week on Primetime, but it's hanging out with the community to get the temperature of how everyone is feeling, how you enjoyed the holiday, what games you picked up during Black Friday, and what we're going to be talking about today. It's a lot of fun, one of which is ridiculous, but the mag has a lot to say about Phil Spencer caught red-handed paying Ubisoft to make sure Assassin's Creed Valhalla runs better on the X and not on the PS5. Folks, it is groundbreaking news, and I think Phil Spencer has just officially lost his job at Microsoft, but we're going to get into that. But let's get into the introductions as we wait for everyone to file on in here. We're going to start with the Mag. Mag, welcome. You didn't celebrate Thanksgiving like we do here in the Americas, but you celebrated in spirit with us. How the heck have you been?
I have been very busy. Wonderful. Hello, everybody. Boom, chat, panel. Yes, I am the middle-aged game guy, better known as the Mag, and I am here tonight. I'm excited. I'm glad everybody got their fill of turkey this week. Here in Canada, we get our fill of turkey in October. We do it a little bit differently up here. And I'm super excited to be here tonight. It's been, almost a week for me for podcasting as well, and we got some great topics. Let's get into it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we're going to get into some fun ones. We're going to get into the ridiculous shenanigans that is, on social media, and poor Phil Spencer being thrown under the bus by the toxic community on how, because of his inquiry on how some games were at some point running better on the PlayStation 5. And obviously, that cannot be true simply because the PlayStation 5 is a great machine in itself, but it's not a more powerful machine. So obviously, they had to make some sort of adjustments on several games like Dirt, like AC Valhalla, like Watch Dogs. And obviously, now that those games are running in a much, much better manner, people are calling foul. And of course, Phil Spencer has been thrown under the bus, but we're going to get into that in a second. But let's continue with the introductions, folks. Next up, our resident Cape Crusader back on PTG. Welcome to the program there, Cybernox.
Glad to be here. Boom. What's going on, chat? What's going on, panel? Hope everyone that is here in the States had some time off to relax and enjoy family, friends, and hopefully you got some gaming. We got a good show for you guys tonight. I can't wait to get into this topic, so let's go.
Yeah, well, it's great to have you here each and every week, and definitely we have a lot of topics to get into. Next up, you know him as someone that appreciates. No, he doesn't just appreciate. He absolutely loves Resident Evil, and we have a big topic on some breaking news for Resident Evil 8 that might piss him off. Please welcome the Tempest Son.
Hello, everybody. How you doing? It's good to be here again. I am regulated to the room again. The house is a madhouse right now, so I'll be enjoying the show from my guest room here. But no, it's good to be here. I love the Resident Evil topics. You are right. I'm ready to get into this.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we do have some leaked info regarding Chris Redfield, one of the little stars of it, all and again, of course, pun intended, stars. Being that he's a part of that could potentially be the antagonist, maybe.
Better not be.
I don't know. I think there's going to be a deep fake, but we're going to get into that. Next up, you know him as someone that's still floating on a waterlogged calzone, looking for land in Florida. Hopefully, he will not get eaten by a shark. Please welcome Clowns. What's up, dude?
Hey, what's going on, man? You know what? It's been a hectic day. I heard some really bad news about somebody in the community. I'll talk to you later, Boom, about it. But,
okay.
And I hope you guys didn't hear my dog. I have the RTX thing on, so hopefully it worked. But I had some real pizza today. I had some real
Nice.
Sicilian pizza. Mag would be
Excellent.
very proud of this. I got it from a pizza place in Tampa. It was the real deal. The only thing was, it did not taste like New York pizza. It's missing the water. And they could have added just a little bit more sauce. But other than that, I mean, close enough. Real Italian people, real Italian pizzeria. So it was good, man. And no, I still don't have a pet gator. So if you want to donate a dwarf alligator to me, I'm always looking for one. Hit me up.
Excellent. Well, listen, hopefully that dwarf alligator doesn't eat you in your sleep, thinking that you actually are a calzone, but we'll talk about that later. Listen, we're waiting for Gaming Forte, who should be joining us momentarily. But before we get into some of the bigger topics, kind of want to pick the brains of not only the panel, but the chat. Black Friday, obviously, was this past Friday, and some of the deals that were made available at places like Target, like Walmart, like Best Buy, more specifically like GameStop, were out of this world. I don't know what everyone else did, but I can tell you that I went on a Switch game hunt where I scored 14. That's right, 14 Switch
Good
games.
Lord.
And I revamped my physical collection because it's weird. For some reason, with Sony and Nintendo, I buy them physically. With Xbox, because I'm confident about them, I buy everything digital. As the fire engine goes by, hopefully they're not putting out the fire that this show is going to be. But Mag, let's go to you. I know that you traditionally don't celebrate Thanksgiving because yours is in, of course, October. Mm-hmm. But did you take advantage of any of the Black Friday sales that were going on this past weekend?
Well, I got to tell you, we do have Black Friday up here. They do all the sales and everything. And they usually do it for about 2 weeks before. It's like Black Friday month, which makes no sense, but it doesn't matter. It's still fun. But here's the problem. With the launch of these 2 new consoles that just came out, and on top of that, I just have literally no patience whatsoever. I bought nothing. And you know why I bought nothing? Is because I blew everything I had 2 weeks before Black Friday. So I got my Oculus Quest 2 and I got games for it. I got the PS5, I got the Series X, and I bought all the games that I wanted to get ahead of time because that's just what I do. And I bought a kitten, for crying out loud. I mean, I'm pretty sure they don't put kittens on Black Friday sales. But anyway, the point is I spent everything. So by the time, and I have two relatively new TVs. They're not even a year old each. And I'm just sitting there going, this is the saddest Black Friday I've ever had because I got nothing to look forward to. I mean, that sounds like real first world problems here, folks. Let's get real. But at the same time, I bought everything. So I'm like sitting there going, I'm so sad. There's nothing to buy. And I got to tell you, Boom, I'm sorry. I got nothing against Nintendo. It's just not my thing.
No. Listen. I get it, dude. Look. I'm going to say this. I'm an old school cat, the oldest one in the panel, no doubt about that. And there is something, at least for me, like I know some people are like really, really over the moon excited about anything Disney. That is how I feel about Nintendo. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of people they do kind of rake their fans over the coals with if you have some of their old games, like for instance, one of the games I'm very excited for that I should have no right to be excited for in 2021 is Mario 3D World. Yes, it was on the Wii U. Yes, I 100%ed that game. I found every star, and I had a blast doing it. And you know something? Even though I still own the disc, even though I have a Wii U still plugged in, because my nephew enjoys it just as much as I do, I will spend $60 on that game with a big cheese smile on my face. And Nintendo is probably the only company that A, can get away with it, and B, that I will not complain about because I just love Nintendo. I guess maybe because I was, for my 15th birthday, I got the NES, and I have been a Nintendo kid, and I'm 50 years old, and I have never lost the love for the iconic mustache and just everything that comes with it. So I hear you. I hear that the Switch may not be your bag, but I went crazy, folks. I bought everything that I passed up on, and then some new stuff on top of that. But let's go to Tempest Sun. Tempest, you obviously know what I bought. You obviously know what Mag bought. Well, he didn't buy anything because he was practically hooking on the corner because he spent all his money beforehand.
Yeah.
What did you take advantage of anything on Black Friday?
Honestly, no, I didn't. Around this time of year, I'm self-employed, and
Oh, okay.
my line of work is if something's broke, I need to fix it, and it's kind of like a cosmetic thing for cars.
Right.
And nobody likes to spend money around this time of year unless it's for a gift, but that's few and far in between. So around the time everybody else is gearing up to spend, I'm gearing up to not spend anything. So it's life, man. But you know what? I got AC Valhalla, and that's like 4 games practically, and
Pretty
Series X.
much.
So
Yeah, pretty much. I
I'm
mean,
set. I'm good.
listen,
I will say this though. I will say this. I don't know how I got to do it. If I got to sell myself on the corner, so be it. I think I'm going to get Phoenix Rising because
dude, it's
that
getting
is looking
incredible
awesome.
reviews, dude.
Yes, it is. Yep.
They're
Yep.
calling it the sleeper hit of 2020, and they're saying that it's going to fall in line with a game of the year nod by many
Wow.
people.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. But anyway, yeah. So that was my adventure.
I hear
it
sounds like somebody is sanding in the background.
I apologize, man. I don't know. Like I said, the kids and my wife are watching a movie out there. Let me swap something around. I'll see if I can fix it.
No, you got to do no problem. Well, listen, we'll come back to Tempest Sun momentarily. Cybernox, you are right around the corner from where I am, even though we've never met in real life, and hopefully that will change once COVID goes away.
Absolutely.
And what did you take advantage of for yourself for gaming?
Oh man, like yourself, I did buy a couple of Switch titles. I'm not big. I'm kind of like Mag. I'm not big into Nintendo anymore. Unfortunately, I don't know what happened. There's something there that it's not connecting with me, But I end up my wife, she actually was interested in a couple of games, which I was just like, hell yeah, like why not? Because she's not a gamer per se, but she's interested in these games. So I was just like, yeah, why not? So we picked up Yoshi's Crafting World.
Oh, dude, that's so good.
Yeah, so she's been watching that, and we picked up Luigi's Mansion.
Excellent pickup, dude.
There was one more for the Switch that we picked up, and I can't recall. It might have been Fire Emblem that I think
I picked up the Three Houses too. I got it for $23 or something like that. I mean, you can't beat that, dude.
Oh man, it was all on sale. It was like $25 each.
Yeah,
so we went to town, and I think we picked up a Mario title too. I can't remember. There was like 3 or 4 Mario titles on sale, but we picked up one of them. I don't know which one she wanted.
Well, hopefully, I don't know if you ever played Odyssey, but that's a masterpiece.
Yeah, we have that. Yep.
Okay.
So for myself, I picked up. So I was talking to Boom before the show. So we picked up Control. It was $20. So I was just like, I haven't played it yet. Why not? And then we got there's some rumors going around that might be coming to Game Pass. So that was fun to see. And then I picked up I picked up the Division 2 New York Warlords expansion.
Nice.
That was on sale too for like $8. I couldn't pass on it.
Ridiculous. Yeah, I enjoyed the Division 2 a lot. I enjoyed 1 a lot more. I guess maybe because I'm a New York kind of a guy, and I really enjoyed running around. It
was nice. Yeah,
it was nice to run around the city during a snow. The second one was okay. It was Washington, D.C. I know people that live in that area are probably amped about it, but I didn't enjoy it as much as I did 1.
Yeah, and then the last game I picked up was Shadow of the Tomb Raider. I started it when it was on Game Pass, but I never finished it, and I was really enjoying it. By the time I came back around to it, I had gone, so I saw it was on sale. It was only like $15.
Oh, that's a good deal.
Picked that up, and I was like, "Oh, I'm all set on games right now." It's not like I already have a backlog and I'm playing Valhalla, Destiny, and all these other games, but add some more games to it. It's always great.
Yeah, no, absolutely. The one other game other than Switch games I picked up was Star Wars Squadrons for the PlayStation 4 for the VR aspect. I paid $16 for it, so that's not bad, brand new. But Clowns, let's go to you, brother. You're always looking for deals. You're always posting when you pick up and you find a whole bunch of collectibles. Did you pick up anything during Black Friday?
Oh, yes, I did, Boom.
Okay,
yes,
let's
I
go.
Did. So GameStop had an error, which was awesome. So it was supposed to be buy 2, get 1 free. But before the stores opened, the online website honored it as buy 1, get 1 free on all pre-owned games.
Wow, really?
Yes. So I picked up games that I normally would never buy. and I would never normally buy a Dragon Ball Z or One Piece World Seeker. And I figured, well, since I'm getting them both for like $14, why not?
Why the
So,
hell not? Yeah.
yep, got them both for like about $14. I'm still probably gonna get Star Wars Squadron for like 16 on
Yeah.
Xbox.
Good deal. Good deal there.
And I got Marvel's Avengers on Xbox. I already have it on PlayStation, but I want to get it again because I really like the game. So I got it on Xbox on disc, and I did it through Target. So I got like 5% off because of the red card.
Right.
Plus, I had $13 credit. So I ended up paying only like $14 after
That's
tax
ridiculous, dude. I love hearing stuff like that. That's how you stick it to the man. That's how you do
Yeah, that's what I did.
it.
Yeah, and I'm actually not done. I also am shopping for computer parts on Newegg, and I'm looking
Nice.
for like good deals, like large percentage off of like different motherboards, stuff like that. So yeah, I'm gonna continue my Cyber Monday deal probably through midnight tonight and see what else I can find.
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, obviously, the whole point of these, shopping online is because no one can really get to the stores. At least I would definitely advise you to stay away from the stores. But this, I mean, again, it's slow but steady opening to the incredible topics that we're going to have, we're going to cover. I do want to move on to, of course, the opening salvo. And that is, what has gone on. Now, look, here's the thing, folks. I'm all for a joke, right? I'm all for, people, giving their opinions on, on certain things, because it's like, it's your opinion. You're genuinely allowed to have it. But there comes a point in time where you start to worry about people's psyches, and you start to worry about, whether or not this has gone from a joke to being serious. And obviously, Digital Foundry did a bunch of analysis on games, comparing PlayStation 5 games running versus the Xbox Series X running. And of course, we kind of knew that was going to happen. And in some aspects, there were some parts of like AC Valhalla that were running better on the PlayStation 5. Now, I don't really have a problem with that. I mean, I have almost 40 hours into the game. Here's a little, now that we got the update, I know I'm going to get shamed for this. I'm not playing it at 60 frames, folks. I'm a graphics whore, so I'm playing it 4K 30 because I like the detail. I like the again, I'm a graphics whore, but there were some, some people that were, of course, it's like anything on the internet, the people are going to run with it. But it turns out that this running narrative on social media happened right before the Thanksgiving holiday. And of course, what's worse is I actually saw Twitter posts and Reddit posts and an ongoing debate on how AC Valhalla could possibly run better on the Series X. How could this be if it was running better on the PlayStation 5? Well, they, Ubisoft, I guess, was working close with Microsoft to figure out why the performance wasn't as good on the better piece of hardware. And they figured it out. And it turns out that it's now running absolutely fantastic. If you haven't played it, or you were playing it and you get back to it now, you're going to immediately see a difference in just about everything. And for some reason or another, the PlayStation version, PlayStation 5 version, through the patch that was sent by Ubisoft, remember, folks, not Microsoft, it somehow downgraded the PlayStation 5 version. So, of course, the toxic community that we all want to avoid in social media came out with the torches and pitchforks, and they aimed them at Phil Spencer, head of Xbox. Now, of course, this is preposterous, but there were many, many people. And again, I read these threads, and I got to be honest with you. It worries me that people actually believe that Phil Spencer, and these are the words that I read, paid Ubisoft to sabotage the PlayStation 5 version. Now, just saying that out loud makes me feel like a complete boob, because it's ridiculous. It's preposterous. But there are people that actually believe this. And we were talking in our private DM like we always do before the show. And Mag, you kind of got a little bit of a mouthful on this to talk about this. So why don't you get into how ridiculous of a story this is and why we're even talking about this?
You know, the fact that we even have to address this situation is the same reason that Xbox or Microsoft had to tweet and address the situation of, guys, we can't believe we have to tell you this, but stop vaping into your Series X. Okay, this is literally the same idea. It's so preposterous and ridiculous that it has to be addressed. But you know what the thing is with the invention of the internet. There's not more dumb people in the world. There's the dumb people in the world. There's actually been the same amount. We just see them more now. That's all that it is, right? So now we get ridiculous stories like this. You know, now Phil Spencer paying off devs. I mean, to me, that sounds like the ramblings of a desperate 10-year-old fanboy. Okay, this does not sound like an adult. You know, I'm picturing like some guy, you know, like some fat guy with white hair sitting in the Senate going, his actions are reprehensible. You know, like it's utterly ridiculous, you know? And you know what? You took the words right out of my mouth. I mean, it's so preposterous to even fathom that Phil would somehow, I can't even, I can almost not say it without even laughing, that would somehow have the power or legalities to do such a thing. Okay. Not even dance moves. Okay. I wouldn't even put anything past that guy. I mean, you know what? I clown on that guy all the time, but he's actually not that bad of a person, but he does do some ridiculous stuff.
Well, he definitely does put his foot in his mouth for sure.
He puts his foot in his mouth all the time.
Yeah.
And, you know, we call him out on it. It's kind of funny. We make a couple of jokes, but we're not accusing him of like, you know, espionage. Like, come on, like, get real, guys. You know, I mean, he wouldn't even conceive of such a thing. Now, stop to think about it. You know, when it comes to something with the power of the Series X, you knew that at some point the Series X was going to perform better. Right. Okay, you knew that this was going to happen. It's just a matter of time. It's a matter of time for those devs to be able to get those tools, to get more familiar with the tools that were given to them because it was given to them late.
Yes.
Now, the other thing that I'm kind of concerned about, maybe this is just a thought, okay? So, like, nobody, you know, don't start firing arrows at me just yet. But maybe they dialed back the PS5 just a smidge because maybe, you know, I think that the PS5 is kind of punching above its weight. Does that make any sense to anybody?
Oh, I believe it is, and I'm not saying that's a wrong thing, but you know, we don't listen. Look, folks, here's the thing. To Mag's point, and I never thought of this, Mag, until you just put that whole sentence together. Now we do know for a fact that there are PlayStation 5s malfunctioning by the boatload. And I'm not making it up, folks. I had it happen to me. I had mine literally die for 10 minutes, wouldn't respond to the power button, wouldn't respond to the controller while playing Miles Morales out of complete nowhere. And finally, after 10 minutes, I don't know what happened. It didn't say that it got hot because it's where it needs to be so it does not get hot. But I know that it had to rebuild everything. Because the error message came on, rebuilding. Finally, the screen went black and came back on. Now, thank God there's been no problem.
Yeah.
But I will say that we do know that Sony has overclocked certain aspects of the PlayStation 5. Now, this is not me headhunting for the PlayStation 5, folks. I support it. I love my PlayStation 5. In fact, that's all they played over the holiday weekend. Mm-hmm. But the bottom line is that maybe Mag, you're on to something because the way that they were doing it for AC Valhalla had the console running hot.
Exactly. And I mean, like I said, it's just a thought or a theory. I'm not saying it's fact, but I mean, it sounds pretty plausible, doesn't it? I mean, when you start thinking about it and you start hearing about all the issues, you know, and they for sure overclocked. So that's what makes me think that maybe they're punching a little bit above their weight. And they're doing that obviously because they know that the Series X is more powerful. It's not even a question. And even those Digital Foundry, they were confused. And they were like, oh, I didn't understand what's going on right here, right now. And, you know, they couldn't understand why the Series X was underperforming. And they know that it is physically a more powerful machine. And again, I don't have a problem with PlayStation. I have one. I'm looking at it right now. It's like the Empire State Building on my coffee table. It's ridiculous. I love the thing, though. Anyways, I've been playing it like crazy, and I have no issues with it. But at the same time, if you're going to try and punch pound for pound with Xbox, I'd rather you did it because I want the console to still live. I don't want my console to burn into flames because they're trying to match, specs on a Series X. Okay, I don't want that. I want the experiences that Sony offers.
Yeah.
I don't want you to go toe-to-toe with Xbox, okay, in terms of power. It's not going to happen unless they release like a PS5 Pro down the road. But what they've got right now, you focus on good performance, decent performance, excellent graphics, and outstanding stories, whether it's single player, multiplayer, whatever the hell you're into, okay? I personally play them for the exclusives, okay? So give me good exclusives. I don't care if it's running at 45 frames per second versus 60. Give me an outstanding story and an amazing experience. I got to tell you, that Astro's Playroom, it is so good.
Oh, my God.
Okay, I absolutely adore that game, and not only because it's a fun little, cute little game with this robot jumping around and beating the crap out of centipedes, but whatever. The point is, I like it because it's an homage to the entire history of PlayStation. You see how like you could find like memory cards from like PS2, and it's a celebration of the entire history. Give me stuff like that.
Yeah.
Don't try to punch pound for pound, okay, with Xbox in terms of specs and power. You're not going to do it. So I have a feeling that maybe Ubisoft made a decision and saying, hey, guys, maybe we're going to dial it back just a bit. And by the way, they're not just going to do that without Sony's permission. Okay, so they have to go through Sony in order to do that. They can't just do that and then just be like, yeah, Sony, bite it. They can't. They have to go through and be like, listen, this is our thought process. You know what I'm saying? They're like, this is our thought process. This is what's going on. These are not decisions like, you walk to the cupboard and go, do I want a cookie or do I want a bag of peanuts? These are big decisions. You know what I'm saying? These are big decisions made by big people with big money involved and big money at stakes. So that these are not decisions to be taken lightly. Therefore, Sony knows. To think, I'm going to bring this all back now, to think that Phil Spencer, I can't even say it without laughing again, to think that Phil Spencer had something to do with this, you need to get your head checked. It
becomes the kind of conversation that people want to have beyond this is something that you would have in a schoolyard when you're 10.
That's what
maybe 7.
I'm saying. A desperate 10-year-old.
It is again preposterous. Listen, I want to bring clowns into the conversation here for a second, but before I do, clowns, let me just catch up on some of these outstanding super chats. And the first one of the evening comes from a very generous friend of the show, Hank Dank. Drops a very generous $5 super chat. Says, "Hey, Boom and panel, keep doing what you guys are doing, and happy holidays. Hope you're getting everything you want and need." Well, thanks for the compliment and thank you for the well wishes. Another generous friend of the show that was here, one of the first ones here early on, the Living Flame, drops an outstanding $5 super chat and says, "I went Black Friday shopping for a tablet, new alarm clock, and Maneater. Finally, 4K Maneater. I got 1,000 out of 1,000 achievements, and that game is incredible. If you like just a game that's mindless and will make you laugh, like literally fall out of your seat laughing, Maneater is a must play. Boomstick approved 100%. Thank you, bro." He says, and it was jawsome experience. Oh, dude, that's a great pun. I appreciate it, brother. We also had another super chat come in from, let's see, where are you? From X Burke, who drops an outstanding, very generous $5 super chat and says, "Boom, I love how you have Mag to represent Canada on your show. Perfect choice. Also been loving the Series X. Can never go back." Yeah, I agree. I don't think I can ever go back. But listen, clowns, we know for a fact, and I'm not trying to make excuses for Microsoft because you guys know that I do not pull my punches. If Microsoft does something and I'll lose subs, I'll get some nasty messages and even get some thumbs down, I take them to task the same way I take Nintendo and PlayStation. I think that is what makes me, at least in my opinion, a very fair-minded host for these shows. And we know for an absolute fact that they did not get these dev kits out before Sony. Why was that? Well, again, in an interview with Phil Spencer, he confirmed that Microsoft was waiting for AMD for the full specs of RDNA 2. That's confirmed. That came out of Phil Spencer's mouth. We've heard that from other people, so they waited. And because they waited, the dev kits did not get to the Ubisofts and the Activisions and the Codemasters and everyone else who needed them to put games out. And because of that, as we saw with AC Valhalla, there were a few shortcomings when, by all accounts, clowns, AC Valhalla should run, look, and play best on the Series X simply because of mathematics. What are your thoughts about the ridiculousness that somehow Phil Spencer and Ubisoft, more specifically, went out of their way to hurt the PlayStation fan base by downgrading Valhalla?
First of all, that is the most ridiculous thing I have ever heard, and I gotta agree with Mag here that they're probably like some 10-year-old toxic fanboy mentality to say something that ridiculous because, you know, at the end of the day, this is Ubisoft's game, right? This is their game, Valhalla. Do you think that they intentionally wanted to run worse on one console over the other? Do they want that kind of baggage? Absolutely not. Ubisoft wants their games to run the best that it can on any console that their games are on, including PC. So to say that they're intentionally getting paid off by this conspiracy theorist that, you know, Phil Spencer somehow involved in a conspiracy theory of trying to make games run worse, it's just ridiculous. It is what it is, people. It is, if it's running worse, deal with it and understand that technology is beyond your own comprehension because it's not intentional.
Yeah.
Let me get this straight. No company would want another company to fail. And all these fanboys, if they read Phil's recent article in The Verge, his interview, he even says he would want no company to fail.
He said that, yeah, good point.
He wouldn't do anything like this to make the Xbox stand out. In fact, it wouldn't make the Xbox stand out because then somebody would find proof that it actually occurred. So this is a load of bull crap. And again, no company wants their game to run bad on any console, period. I'm sure that whatever Ubisoft needs to do to get the game running up to par, they're going to do the best that they can with what they got. They're not going to go ahead and say, oh man, if only we got paid off by some conspiracy theory, maybe a couple $100,000 will make the game run worse. It's not even worth it, guys.
Yeah.
You think it's worth it for to do something like that? They want to sell their game on every console it's available on. So, that is what I got to say about this. And Mag is 100% right. And people, go read that Verge article if you're going to come up with nonsense like this, please. Because there's a lot of facts in there that you could use.
Yeah, you know what? It's actually, that's a great point. And I want to encourage anyone that is interested in hearing the most candid Phil Spencer you've ever heard. That Verge interview does have an audio version. So all you have to do is find it online. I mean, if you want to read it, that's great because, you know, I like reading stuff as well, especially when I'm putting these shows together. It's much easier for me and quicker, more so than me to have to, you know, take the notes and type while I'm listening. But the interview is fantastic. It is really well done. And Phil is, once again, as candid as a human being and a head of Xbox you could ever want. Like I said, listen, I know that I've said this before. I am very proud to say that Xbox is my first choice. And the reason why it is because of the leadership. And the leadership is Phil Spencer. And I really do appreciate what he is trying to bring the millions and millions of gamer fans, not just Xbox fans, but gamers across the universe. Cybernox, let's get you in on the conversation. You've heard what everyone has said so far, so I don't see that you're going to have any different of an opinion, but to know that Microsoft got word that their version for the Series X was not up to par. They immediately contacted Ubisoft. I would imagine that they put their heads together. They figured out what the problem was, and a patch was put out there. This is great work for Microsoft's head dude to be on basically be on call to fix an issue, because obviously AC Valhalla is probably one of the biggest games of the year, and one that a lot of people are playing. For you, what are your thoughts on the running narrative that Phil Spencer somehow had anything to do with a downgrade to the PlayStation 5 version?
First of all, it's kind of like what Mag alluded to earlier. The fact that they even have to address something like this, it's mind blowing. You're telling me that Phil Spencer, a gamer, because we all know he's a gamer, okay, by heart, the one who's been praising about Unity and how he wants to give gamers choice, he wants all game. He wishes that games could be played anywhere. You know, he wishes that all games would be accessible to all types of players. You're telling me that guy actually went and paid. So come on, guys, what are we talking about here? It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It makes no sense. Now, with that said, them questioning why AC Valhalla looked the way it did on a console that should be performing better, that's absolutely, I would do the same thing.
Yeah.
You know, why is this game performing the way it is on this piece of hardware that's capable of doing so much more? Now, we know that Ubisoft games usually at launch, they're not the best optimized games. They're very buggy. Assassin's Creed games have had, you know, misfortunes before. Unity was a big example of that. So Ubisoft games tend to come with a little bit of bugs. But for you guys for someone to bring up this narrative that they are paying Ubisoft to deliberately downgrade the PS5 version and just optimize the Xbox Series X version so it looks better, it makes no sense, guys. Like, come on. And there's if you think about all these variables, like, it doesn't make sense. One, what if someone finds out their reputation goes, they no longer have they no longer have a reputation, right? Ubisoft no longer is a company that can be
trusted.
Exactly. You can't trust them anymore. Microsoft, they're gonna go against everything they've been trying to do. They've been pro-consumer, pro-gamers this whole time. They've been trying to give gamers everything and allow them to, you know, just enjoy this hobby that we love so much, gaming, without all of this nonsense, with all of this, you know, Phil even referred to as gaming tribalism, you know?
Yes. Yep.
So no, man, it's absolutely nonsense. On paper, you know, Microsoft, their console is the most powerful console. It is. So them just questioning that, like, why is Valhalla not performing to the capabilities that it can? It's just normal. It's just, you know, someone maybe even trying to help out developers to faster optimize their games as well with Valhalla, you know? So no way, man. Phil Spencer, that guy, man, he has done so much for the Xbox community. Just look at the Xbox ecosystem and the platform that it is today compared to what it was. Like,
yeah, no, that's a fantastic point.
Yeah. So yeah, man, that's it. No, there's no truth to that. The fact that we're even talking about it, you know, it's and the fact that did they address this or no?
No, they haven't addressed it personally, and I'm glad that they didn't, because I think that would be.
I'm sure they won't either. So
no, they don't have to, because again, it's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous, and for people to even think that that's true, man, come on, that's just nonsense.
I absolutely agree. Listen, before we get to, of course, Tempest Sun, I want to welcome in a surprise guest appearance from not only Noof Nukem, the other Canadian. We have not only one, we have bookend Canadians here today, but we also we might see, and I'm looking at the flight schedule. His chopper should be here momentarily. We could get a visit from Arnold Schwarzenegger. Noof, How the heck have you been, brother?
I'm good, man. Thanks for the invite. Always a pleasure to be here. Feels like it's been a long time since I've been on Primetime, but I am glad to be here with all you fine cats. I hope everybody had a fantastic Thanksgiving south of the border, and I'm ready to jump on to whatever topic you want to dish at me, brother.
Well, listen, we will come back to you in a second. We're talking about how Phil Spencer was caught red-handed paying off Ubisoft to downgrade the PlayStation 5 version of AC Valhalla. Tempest Sun, let's get your opinion on this because you're a very straightforward, straight-thinking kind of a gamer. What are your thoughts on this ridiculously?
First of all, does it sound like I'm sanding something, or am I okay?
No, you're good. You're good. You're good.
You're good? Okay. All right. I can't really say anything more than what everybody else has said. Everybody's been perfectly on point. It's ridiculous. Instead of focusing on the negative, I can pull from it a positive, not just because the Series X is running better, but they added options. It was a big patch. They fixed a lot.
They did.
They fixed a lot of bugs. They took the Series S version and they gave it a performance mode. And the fact that you can take a game that pretty much still cripples most PCs and take a $300 box, even though it sits at 720p a lot of times, which is super low resolution, it's still a $300 box. Put that in perspective. Open world games on the Switch run sometimes at like 480p or under. At 30 frames a second. The Switch is a $300 console. Plug in the Series S, even though it's just 720p, 60 frames, and a pretty silky smooth 60 frames at that. So the Series S owners, it was a big win. It was a win, even though they had to drop the bottom end of the resolution on the Series X version. It's just what they had to do. And as an Xbox fan, I got to be completely honest. It always feels like there's caveats. It always feels like there's something slightly off, slightly wrong. We literally have a $500 console that, by all means, eats my PC for dinner. Like, it just eats it completely. It like kills it. And I got my PC for close to $2,000, or it was about $2,000, about not even 2 years ago. Right? Wow. So it's just more powerful. It's just the time that I got it, you know, I have a 1080 Ti, yeah, but it is more powerful. But comparing the two, it's like it's just not ready. It should technically be able to power through stuff, but from what we understand, they got their tools in what, June, I think.
Yeah, late June, as a matter of fact.
Late June.
Very, very late June, yeah.
So that's the caveat. It always seems like there's kind of a what if. I truly believe, and I truly do believe, in like around 2022, there's going to be no more what ifs. All of their first-party studios will be rolling out games, you know, probably 3 to 4 AAA games a year, which will be fantastic, plus all the stuff in between and Game Pass. I think they'll be running on all cylinders then, right? For now, there's some growing pains, and that sucks. And by all accounts, PS5 was running better, and now, technically speaking, the lower end of the resolution is still higher on the PS5. And there's a multitude of things. On PS5, they also gave you a performance mode and a quality mode. It could be just a simple bug. It could be something so small. I mean, this is totally off the rails, but this goes to my point. Remember that Alien game, Colonial Marines?
Yes.
Okay, that whole game's AI, all right, could have been, I'm not even kidding you, 100 times better. Not perfect still, because the game was crap, but 100 times better. And the AI was the worst part about that game. The Alien AI was just stupid, like so dumb.
It was bad. I mean, listen, it was again bad. It was awful. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was a typo. Do you remember that story? It was a typo in the like config files or something. Not config, but it was literally a typo. They like forgot an S, right? Somebody found that out, put the S in the game code, and voila, the AI was like 100 times better. So I'm just saying they did change stuff in the game. They fixed bugs and everything else. So it still runs perfectly fine on the PS5. So this notion that Microsoft paid actual money and told Ubisoft to make it work is ridiculous. But the positives is the game's better. You have more options, and it's only going to get better from here on out. And for future titles for the Series X, it's just growing pains, man. This is they waited. In the long run, I don't even think in the long run. I think in the next 6 months to a year, it's not going to be a long run to get to that point. But I truly think these developers will have time to like mature their skills on these on the
Absolutely.
SDK. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's fine.
You know what? I want to bring up a particular member of the chat. He brings up an amazing point. I wasn't originally going to talk about it, but I do have a slide that I want to bring up, and that's Naru Hin. He says this, and I'm actually going to pose this question to Noof Nukem. He says, the one that spread this ridiculousness is John Linneman. He makes Digital Foundry look bad and unreliable. Now, to his point, I want to just do an asterisk, like in real time. John Linneman has been, and we know this for a fact, has been bullied online by many very, very sad human beings that are considered gamers. And I want you to understand something. If you partake in bullying, if you partake in harassing or threatening, and I happen to find out about it, you understand you're going to be blocked. So I just want to understand that we're going to talk about John for a second, but I just want people to understand that the bullying is not something that is a part of Double Barrel Gaming. Okay, I want you to understand that it's okay to have a different opinion. Now, to kind of bring John into the conversation, I'm going to bring up a particular slide, and he sometimes puts his foot in it, and considering the source, there's no reason for him to do this. And the reason why this thing spiraled out of control is because of this particular tweet. Okay, let me just bring this up right now. Here we go. Okay. Now, Joe Miller, who I have no idea who this kid is, he says, "Welp. We know PS5 runs the game much faster and better, so it needs to be crippled not to make Microsoft look bad. Nice move, Phil." Now, this is a comment that, in my professional opinion, is not one that needs to be discussed by someone as dignified as Digital Foundry. I find it to be ridiculous, right? I find it to be very, very low on the totem pole. And John writes, don't know, but you're right. They made the PS5 version worse. I would recommend not updating it. Now, there is no reason for John to get involved in this. You are a power professional, and you are part of Eurogamer, which is one of the biggest European game sites in the entire planet. I find it to be very small of John to get involved in this kind of nonsense. So, of course, like he's done in the past, he will stoke the fire. He will tweet something. And, of course, then the wrath of God has been opened. And then he will delete his tweet and then go into reclusion, not going on social media. Now, again, I want you to understand, I do not want anyone, and if I find out that you're following me and you partake in this, in bullying, threatening, or harassing, I'm going to block you because I don't want that to be a part of my channel. But, I want to go to Noof on this. Noof, this to me, not only is the story ridiculous about how Phil Spencer was somehow responsible for the PlayStation 5 version now looking worse due to a patch that was sent by Ubisoft on the other side of the planet, oh, by the way. But the fact that John would somehow interject his opinion into what is clearly console war bullshit. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, first off, let me just say that I have the utmost respect for the guys at Digital Foundry.
And I as well. Yes.
Some people may obviously not, because people want to play their own side of the narrows. I've seen it where these guys say something good about Xbox and everybody loves them, and the next day they say something negative and everybody hates them. So it's part of that fanboy narrative. But at the same time, I do think those guys, and especially when it comes to Linneman more so than Ledbetter, that he kind of knows what he's doing, or maybe sometimes he even is just not aware of the way his stuff comes out on social media or the way it's interpreted. I mean, based on his tweet here, they made the PS5 version worse. Well, okay, the patch theoretically may have made the version worse, but Phil Spencer didn't throw money at Ubisoft and said, "Hey man, you got to make our version better." Like that's the most asinine and biggest pile of poop I've seen since the pile in Jurassic Park. I mean, nobody's buying. I mean, nobody should be buying that. I mean, come on, man. Like, the industry's not that freaking nuts. Okay, like that's not happening. But you know, but like I said, I have the utmost respect for these guys. You know why? Because they know tech. These guys spend their lives around tech the same that we spend around gaming. I mean, they're playing games, but they know how to find and define, analyze things. They're up to date with the latest tech. They know the specs. They know how things theoretically should run. They know when something is not potentially running up to capability or capacity. And sometimes I sense that disappointment. And sometimes they call a spade, and they say facts are facts. You know, we all know there's a lot more on tap potential for both consoles. We also know that there's a lot left to go with the Xbox Series X that we haven't seen, and I hope to God we do see it. But you know, when it comes to all of this stuff being behind schedule or a version being worse than the other, I mean, yes, if the tools came out back in June, obviously that only left those developers a couple of months to play around with things. They're probably focused in on one version first, kind of playing catch up with the other versions. And at the end of the day, look, if I give you a shovel and I get a shovel, but you get your shovel a month before I get my shovel, don't, you know, generally if you're working at the same rate, aren't you going to dig that hole deeper than I would? Right?
Yes, makes sense.
You know,
but
look, and it also comes down to talent levels. It comes down to is talent, because look, you look at the cooking shows, okay, and this is a great way to put analogies in there. The cooking shows, you look at these cooking shows, every cook that's in there, right, they all have pretty much the same tools. They're given the same ingredients, and at the end of the day, somebody makes a masterpiece and somebody screws it up, because it comes down to talent. We've seen this time and time again with Sony studios, no matter how big they are or how small they are. Hence Naughty Dog, we know they have a ton of talent. Hence somebody like Sony, is it Ben? I think it's Ben.
or Ben Studios, yeah.
Or the one Ready at Dawn that did, because I'm playing going back to The Order, and I'm still blown away with how amazing that game looks from one of their studios that's not even considered a top studio. Now, they're not a studio of Sony anymore. I think they're actually going to make VR games. But you see my point here. It comes down to time, it comes down to tools, and most importantly, 9 chances out of 10, it's all about talent. It's about who can get the most maximized results from the tools, the toolkits given. And it's like Olympians. I mean, it's amazing that a gold medal is often separated from second place by what? A fraction of a second.
Seconds, right? Yeah.
And that's what I'm not getting. A gold to a silver, but nobody remembers silver, even though you were like 0.2 seconds off. Nobody remembers your name. It's all about the gold, right?
Yeah, indeed.
This console race is much the same. On paper, Xbox is the more powerful console. In time, we should see the bulk load of games running better right from the hop, because it just, if they tap it properly. But again, if everything is going to be based on the lowest common denominator and they're not going to put the full efforts in, then it makes no difference. And we're seeing this with the Switch. I mean, first of all, I just found out that Doom Eternal is coming to the Switch. Is anybody else, jaws not on the floor, thinking, how in the hell is that even possible? How are these games?
Who the heck knows?
They put The
I don't
Witcher
think it
there,
is
man.
possible.
They
I
put
think
The
it's a lie.
Witcher. This is what I'm saying. So, you know what? Even though those games don't look and run as smooth as, say, you know, an Xbox One or a PS4, you got to give them credit. First of all, they tried, and second of all, they actually made it work, which is even more impressive. Yeah, I mean, for the average Switch owner, you know what you're getting. You know it's going to run at 30 frames a second or less. It's going to have lower resolution textures. They're going to do what they can to get it running. But the fact of the matter is, it's not to the point that I look at Doom Eternal on the Switch and go, man, it was like the difference between 16-bit and the 32-bit era, right? Totally, you know, these are not night and day gaps, but they're gaps that you can see. Those guys at Digital Foundry break it down. It's really unfortunate. So many people jump on Linneman, they jump on Ledbetter every time they have a negative skew for one console or the other. And it happens on both sides. It's not them trashing Xbox constantly or PlayStation, because we see it. I mean, look how much heat they took when they had to finally admit that Red Dead Redemption 2 looked and ran a hell of a lot better on the series, on the One X. Right?
Can I say something real quick though?
Yeah, jump in. Yeah, absolutely.
I absolutely I ring the bell. I've considered signing up to their Patreon account just to support them, even though they don't need my support really. But I love Digital Foundry. I feel like I learned something when I watched their videos. I feel like in the realm of video games and tech, they've made me smarter. I appreciate them. But there are some just oddball things. Like for the first, I'd say, year that the One X was out, they were doing the comparisons between PS4 Pro and One X. And all of a sudden it stopped. Instead, what they started doing was comparing the One X version to PC,
PC.
Right.
which always struck me as way out there, like odd. Like,
Mhm.
why would you do that? Because it's like, the PC version is going to be better. You're talking about a difference of potentially $1,000 to $1,500 easy, So it just never made sense to me. Now all of a sudden, the comparisons come out, and by all means, I'm not taking anything away from the PlayStation. Their dead kits have been out there forever, so kudos to them. They're winning. They're winning the quote unquote how games are performing right now. They're the power race or whatever currently. So it is what it is. They're winning that. But when you listen to their videos, they are downright excited. I don't know if they're excited because it's good for clicks. It's good for the console war. I don't know if it's good for that reason. But you have a year, like a full year and a half of no comparisons between the Pro and the X, because honestly, the X was just taking it every time. Maybe that's why they stopped, but it's not consistent. Now all of a sudden, the PS5 has a slight advantage, but an advantage, and all of a sudden they're super duper excited. You could hear it in their voices. They are like giddy, right?
Yeah.
So this is coming from the guy that wants to root for the underdog or root for Xbox, whatever. But when I heard it, I was like, just be consistent, guys. Come on.
Just remember, if any of us have ever owned a Windows PC, we all know about how the latest, greatest update doesn't always mean it's the latest and greatest. We've all seen our computers take massive steps backward after an update, and you got to go do a rollback because something else is crashing, or now an app is completely missing. So, it happens in gaming. It's unfortunate, but it happens. And like I said, those guys also have preferences, and again, they run a media site. At the end of the day, they're trying to give you tech information as fact and stuff like that, and they put it right out there on the screen where you can see it for yourself. But they have preferences, and they also know what sells, right? They're not that stupid, they know that sometimes in order to maybe get those hits on their sites, they're doing the analytics. They know, okay, the one that has the negative Xbox angle on it is probably going to get 4,000 more views. They want to make money. These guys are in this to make a bit of money, but they're also in it to educate people. I don't hold them accountable to that. I mean, it happens in all of the industry. I think most of the time, more often than not, they're pretty fair. They're pretty awesome. But I agree with you. Yes, it was kind of weird. They went from apples to apples to Apple versus a freaking watermelon at one point, right? It's like you can't compare. Yeah. They're not comparing the Xbox One X version of a game to the Switch. No, it's just like, here's the Switch version, and they compare it to nothing. It's like, this runs at like 25, and so I'm not going to say much more on it than that. I mean, I think the whole paid off Ubisoft is the biggest, like I said, load of crap I've heard in a very long time. And anyone that's naive enough to believe that, man, you need to get your head checked, because that's some serious work going on right there. And like I said, and I agree with Boom, man. The bullying and stuff over games. At the end of the day, it's all about fun. It's all about gaming. And who really cares? You know what? If these specs were never even announced and we had no idea what console was more powerful than another, would anybody really care? At the end of the day, you'd be playing your games and you probably wouldn't even notice anything. You'd be like, this thing looks amazing and it runs good. And of course, I know there's people that are going to hear this podcast and they're going to be like, look at the Xbox Patrol damage controlling again. Right. Yeah. But we say to those people, you can go suck a lemon, but because it's the same old story all the time.
Yeah, no, it is. And you really great points from the entire panel. Again, this was, I had to bring this up because it was an important topic that was, it took a lot of the media, over the holiday, and the fact that it even got any legs really surprised me. I got to be honest with you. It surprised me, but more so disappointed me. It disappointed me, not so much that people are going to stoke the fire. What bothers me, and it is a bit of a head scratcher, is exactly what you said. Digital Foundry, I understand, I respect the hell out of what they do, because they have more knowledge than in the thimble than I have in my entire body when it comes to tech, which is why I tune into them. What upsets me and what disappoints me is that they are considered the gold standard when talking tech, when doing comparisons, and to come down from such a high level and such a prominent position within gaming to now start getting in the middle of this console war nonsense, to me, it really detracts from them being a legitimate site. And obviously, we know that they're legitimate. We know that that all of the big makers go to them because of their technical prowess. What disappoints me is that they stoop to such a low level sometimes. And I get it. I understand it's all about clicks, but you know something? Maybe just being real and that should just be enough. You know, maybe just talking about the tech and comparing apples to apples and oranges to oranges, and not looking to bend the way you do things for a particular company, because that's how it comes off of. You know, look, here's a perfect example. A good friend of the show, Pixel Bit G, drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, facts. Digital Foundry is a great site, but there are plenty of instances of them throwing softballs to Sony, harping on Xbox, and adding their feelings into the facts. Thank you. I don't think I could have said it any better, Pixel Bit G. And that really is the crux of the conversation. And listen, as we close in on 400 people here, I want to thank everybody for taking the time to hang out. I do want to ask, if it's not that big of a deal to you, I would love to have 300 likes before the end of the show. If you are enjoying the banter, if you're enjoying the the weekly show, please support this by just hitting the thumbs up button. I would do tremendously appreciate that. But before we get into the next topic, and it's one I cannot wait to talk about, I do want to just kind of give everyone the heads up. We are 25 days away from Christmas, which means that we are closing in on the annual Christmas with Mr. and Mrs. Boomstick. And if you are new to the channel, you don't know what this is. Since I started YouTube, I've been doing it now for 3 years as of November 3rd. Every Christmas, Mrs. Boom and I try to give back to the community through the super chats and the Patreon and channel membership that supports us. And we're going to do it again. Obviously, for the launch of the consoles, my brother Neo Mental, Mrs. Boom, and I, we did a $2,000 giveaway. We gave away 2 consoles, 10 next-gen games, and 2 controllers, 1 DualSense and 1 Xbox Series X controller. Now, this next event that we're going to be doing is going to be happening on December 18th, which is a Friday morning. And how that works very simply is this. As of today's show, we are recording all super chats. And if you drop a super chat in, you get entered into the contest. If you are a Patreon supporter, you get entered into the contest automatically, and as well as a channel supporter through the channel membership, you get into the contest. And we're going to put all the names into a picker, and we're going to announce those prizes on the 18th of December, and it's going to be over $600 in prizes that both me and Mrs. Boomstick are paying for out of our pocket. The 2 grand prizes are going to be $100 gift cards, 2 $100 gift cards, 1 winner per gift card to your favorite digital place, whether that be Nintendo eShop, Xbox Live, or of course PSN. 2 $50 gift cards, 4 $25 gift cards, 1 Robot White Series X controller, and 1 DualSense controller. And again, 1 winner per prize. And we're doing that on the 18th of December. So if you are someone that has dropped the super chat in, if it's someone that you are already supporting us through Patreon and or channel membership, you will be automatically entered into the contest. And again, it's just our way of giving back to the community that has been so generous for us and Double Barrel Gaming. And I just kind of want to make that quick announcement. But I do want to move on to a topic that I know that our good friend Tempest Sun cannot wait to talk about. Now, look, Resident Evil, if anyone knows me, knows that that is by far my favorite franchise of all time. I have beaten just about every Resident Evil, even the crummy PlayStation 2 light gun games I've beaten and still own. We are on the verge of getting Resident Evil 8: The Village. I believe it's going to be coming out in February. I don't have confirmation. I think we're going to get that much sooner than later. But Capcom likes the first quarter of the year for their Resident Evil games. We've seen that with 7. We've seen that with Resident Evil 2 Remake, and last year we got Resident Evil. I'm not sorry, last year. This year, we got Resident Evil 3 remake. I believe it was in April. So they do like that first 3 and 4 months. So I'm going to imagine that we're going to see Resident Evil 8, The Village, possibly releasing. But we do have some artwork that was leaked, and it may have spoiled a big twist. And if what I think it's going to be, I don't think Resident Evil fans are not going to be as happy with the potential turnout. Now, in a story pulled directly from comicbook.com, they're reporting new artwork for Resident Evil Village or Resident Evil 8 appeared online last week, with the artwork potentially spoiling a big twist that we may or may not see happen in the game. Now, the leak in question was spotted via the game's Steam listing and showed an image involving Chris Redfield, one of the heroes of the Resident Evil franchise, with his face cut in half. Now, not literally cut in half, but on the other half of the picture was a werewolf. And we do know that werewolves are a new type of enemy in this game. And a lot of people are starting to suggest that maybe, just maybe, Chris Redfield somehow gets turned into a werewolf and he becomes the antagonist of the game. And I know that Tempest Sun is not going to be happy about that. But listen, real quick. Oh, there's your little guy. Hey there. How's everything?
Yeah, there's my little girl here. I'm multitasking.
Okay.
Somebody said it's true.
Well, listen. Well, it's good to see her on camera. And she's so tiny.
Mhm.
My God, you must be a very big man in real life because she seems very small to you.
Yeah, she's a little girl. Yeah.
But listen, what's that?
Huh?
No, I said Baby Rain.
Yeah, Baby Rain. That's her. Yep.
The Tempest Sun, the aesthetic gamer, who is someone that has in the past leaked massive amounts of Resident Evil and has never been wrong. I mean, the guy is a guy or girl for that matter. I don't know who the person is, but they go by the aesthetic gamer. They have knocked it out of the park. And they are reporting that the official artwork for the game is showing Chris Redfield bundled up in the snow, looking downward. And you know, what are your thoughts if they're going to make him into the antagonist rather than the protagonist of the game?
Okay, so they can do. Okay, first of all, I said this in the DMs, and I mean it. I don't have many tables in my house, maybe 3 to 4. So after I flip those and it's not enough, I'm going to go to the nearest furniture store, which I think the closest one is Rooms to Go. I'm going to flip every table at that store.
Well, hopefully you don't get arrested so we can get you in on the next podcast.
Listen, Chris is my dude. There's no way. And he's like, he's like the ultimate good guy. I mean, it is what it is. He's the best. So they do this. They can do this all the time, though. It's very well possible that they're just trying to trick us. For promotional material too, that's a common thing where they show half of the protagonist's face and half of the antagonist's face.
Yes, absolutely.
So it could be that there's a bad guy they haven't shown yet in the game that is a werewolf, or potentially if he is a werewolf, if he manages to not be like a dick of a werewolf and just be like a bad guy. I guess maybe it'd be pretty cool if Chris was also a werewolf. I mean, he was already pretty overpowered, so I mean, he might be cooler now, right? I don't know. It could be any one of these things. They really can't make him bad. They just can't do it. If they do it, it just doesn't make sense. I mean, how would people feel? I mean, Chris isn't everybody's favorite. A lot of people like Leon more. I'm
an old
imagine they make him bad
myself. Yeah.
Yeah. Same here. It just doesn't work. So. I mean, I know they tried to veer us in that direction with the preview of the game with him shooting that person. I almost guarantee you that there was something wrong with that person. That person was a werewolf. That person was whatever, right? I just think it's a marketing tactic. We've seen this stuff before. I mean, heck, I love Halo, but Halo 5 had an entire, marketing campaign that had nothing to do with what the game actually was. I mean, do you remember that podcast, man? Was it Hunt the Truth?
Yes.
Dude, oh my God, dude, that was so hype. That was so good. So good. And so I get that game and I would listen to it again. That was fantastic. I've never heard anything like it. And then all of a sudden, Nothing. So, I mean, who knows? Marketing can be absolutely anything. So I'm just going to go with the fact that I know Chris Redfield, my boy, he is the ultimate good guy, and it's going to stay that way. That's my prediction. If it's not, I guess I'm getting arrested due to flip tables.
Look, I will say this: the article did offer two different scenarios, and the first scenario is exactly what, of course, Tempest Sun just said. Whether it was just showing half of Chris's face and half of the werewolf face, meaning that this is who is going to be one of the main antagonists. Now, I don't necessarily know if it's a pack of werewolves or it's just one giant, nemesis-like character that's a werewolf. We don't know. We haven't seen anything. But what we have seen is, again, to Tempest Sun's point, Chris Redfield not acting not like Chris Redfield. He did shoot somebody in the head that I think was the wife of the star of Resident Evil 7 and Ethan. So I don't know what exactly is going on, but I think somehow there's gonna be a deep fake here.
Hey, that wife, I hate to say it, man, but she was damaged goods, bro.
She was a mental case. There's no doubt about that for sure. But you know what? I want to bring let's bring Cybernox into the conversation with this. Cyber, look, we don't have a lot of information, but we do know that Resident Evil 8 is going to be in first person, like Resident Evil 7. We know that it's continuing the story directly after Resident Evil 7, which is going to be interesting on how they get to that country where they're going to be at. Mm-hmm. And it does have a lot of reminiscent like looks to Resident Evil 4, which is currently being remade by the team that brought us Resident Evil 2 remake. So I cannot wait for that. For you, what are your thoughts on this whole Chris Redfield thing? Do you think they could make him the bad guy?
Listen, what I do know is I need to catch up on this lore really quick because that game is looking amazing. Okay, I gotta catch up on Biohazard, Resident Evil 7, and I played the Resident Evil 2 back in the day, but I want to play the remake too. Okay, with that said,
it's on sale right now. By the way,
good. Oh no, I have it. We're just gonna play it. Just no time. But with that said, I'm on the opposite side of the spectrum when it comes to Tempest. Okay, you know what? Go crazy with it. Why not? We all listen.
Look at that.
We
face.
know.
Look at that face. Even Rain is upset.
She agrees with me. Look at that. She's reaching. She agrees with me. Listen, it's too predictable, right? We already said it. A lot of people are speculating, thinking, hey, no way, man. He cannot be the bad guy. He's going to turn out there's something else going on here. Too predictable. Be unpredictable. Maybe he's had enough. Maybe something happened that, triggered him. Maybe, he reached his breaking point. I don't know. Maybe I don't know what they're going to come up with, but it would be interesting to know what made him turn into the antagonist, wouldn't it? Rather than why is he, acting this way and then just to be the good guy again. Like, no, come on. Yeah, make him the antagonist. Why not? But I do understand, that there is a lot of love for Chris Redfield out there. So I'm curious to see how they're going to go. This game, it's looking good. I'm very intrigued by it. I love the horror genre. So I'm really looking forward to this game. But I'm on the opposite side of Tempest. Make him the bad guy. Why not? It'll be fun. It'll be fun. And then can you think about like that boss battle? I don't want to do this. Come on. Yeah. Why not?
That would be pretty unbelievable. But again, only time is going to tell, and I think we might even get some sort of a big announcement. Again, this is just my opinion. I don't know for a fact that the Game Awards is in 10 days, folks. So we are going to be getting. I know that Jeff Keighley has been teasing a lot of Xbox stuff, but he's also been teasing a lot of PlayStation and Nintendo stuff. So being that this is going to be not like years past, I think there's going to be plenty of room for surprises. And I think that if anyone could pull it off, it's definitely Jeff. And a lot of people don't like the guy, and he's whatever.
Listen, I'm boycotting the Game Awards for like 5 minutes because Ori was not nominated for Game of the Year. That really hurt me. That's all I'm saying. Come on.
I mean,
I'm boycotting them. All right. minutes now. I'll boycott them for like their intro. I'll boycott them for the intro. Then I'll watch the rest of the show.
There's quite a few snubs. That happens to be one of them. That probably should have been at least one of the games. But again, I like I said, every game on there is special. I think Ori deserved to be there. I have Hades. I have not played it as of yet, but I have heard only fantastic things. You know, it's a backlog, folks.
Listen, I don't want to make this another topic, but I'll say this again because we had this discussion last year as well. I'm just gonna say this real quiet. No remake should be GOTY contender. Let's carry on.
Okay.
That's all. I'm just throwing that out there.
I know, and you know something. You know what? There are a lot of people that think exactly that way. But let's bring our very special guest who jumped in. But before we do, has Arnold made it? Did the limousine pick him up yet?
Boom, the job has landed a long time ago. I'm always here. I'm always on standby. I love being here on the show. And I love everybody in the chat. It's been a great time to be alive. I mean, outside of the COVID, and hopefully everybody get the shot to stay healthy here. But always a fun time. The gaming industry has never looked better. And I can't wait to play all the new games that are coming out. These new consoles are amazing. And that PlayStation 5, that's a big bitch. Oh, my God. But it's awesome.
Well, listen, I mean, Arnold, did you get your hands on a PlayStation 5 and could you lift it is what we want to know.
Oh my God, my back almost went out. I had to take the box into the thing. And of course, the Xbox Series X is not a little slim dog either. That one is a little bit on the fat side. It's nice and cubic, you know, and I love it. I love it when people came out with the meme and they had me, you know, the picture from me back in Commando, and they put the Xbox Series X up on the shoulder. It's amazing. It's awesome. They're both big consoles, but they have big promises and big games, and we can't wait to see what they're going to have here in the future.
Well, it's always great to have you a part of the show, brother. Thank you so much for flying in. Hopefully you had a good Thanksgiving. You didn't put on 10 pounds because obviously we all ate extra. But Noof, let's bring Noof into the conversation. Noof, listen, Resident Evil 7 was a big deal in a lot of ways. Not only was it my personal game of the year in 2017, but it did two amazing things. One, it brought back Capcom from the brink of Chapter 11. That is a fact, okay? We know that for an absolute fact that Resident Evil 7 sold better than any Resident Evil game before it. But it was risky because it was in first person, something never done before on a modern numbered Resident Evil game. Resident Evil 8 is continuing that trend with it being back in first person, and we do know that werewolves are going to be a big part of this European set. What are your thoughts on potentially Chris Redfield being the bad guy?
Well, honestly, I think anytime you take a big risk with a story, it's always a gamble, but sometimes the gamble pays off, and it just makes the writing and makes the series even better. I mean, it really sucks a lot of times that we see some of our top characters get cast to the wayside or even killed off in some games. But I think that as a whole kind of has to happen, in my personal opinion, for the games medium to mature, for the games medium to be taken seriously as well. It can't be like every hero that comes out in a game is like, indestructible, superhero-esque, that sort of thing. Like, we saw how some of our characters died in the Gears of War franchise, like Dom and so on and so forth, and they need to do more of that in games. They have to take some risk, even if it is the main character. I mean, it's just like I said, you want to move the story forward, and sometimes you can't do that if you're always going to play it safe and by the book. So, I mean, who knows? I mean, maybe he gets bit and he turns into a werewolf. They find some sort of, maybe it's a race against time to save Chris. I don't really know the whole deal, but I think it's an interesting dynamic. They took a huge risk with Resident Evil 7, not only by sort of departing from the story that we've come to know and love, but also by, again, going to a first-person shooter aspect, not in the typical sense, but I mean, just changing the perspective of the game. And the reason it worked so well, because honestly, has Resident Evil ever been as scary or as downright atmospheric as it was with Resident Evil 7? I don't think so. I mean,
I agree that, dude. Yeah.
I mean, getting chased by the Nemesis and the guy from Resident Evil 2, the big, what's his name?
What are you talking about? The Mr. X.
Mr. X. I mean,
Yeah.
those are great moments too. They're intense, but nothing brings it home like first person. And if you don't believe me, well, then play Resident Evil 7 with the PSVR. And trust me, you're going to leave some skid marks in your drawers because holy moly, that game jumps up to a whole new level of like crap in your pants. When you go to VR, VR is just it was kind of made for that sort of stuff because the audio immersion and the visual, and that game was just so realistic. Like the thing, what made Resident Evil stand out too is Resident Evil 7 felt more believable in a way, if that makes any sense.
No, it does. Absolutely.
It almost felt like an environment you could see yourself in. Like you could almost picture yourself being in that woods, getting into this house, thinking what's going on here. Everything just kind of goes wacky, and you know what I mean. It was that whole sense of dread and not knowing what's going on, and of course, like I said, the sound effects and the mechanics were just something else. I was never the biggest Resident Evil fan, but that was the kind of game in a way that sort of brought me into the series, perhaps more than anyone before it. And some people don't even really think it's like a real Resident Evil game. I know there are diehard fans out there like, what's up with this game? It's such a departure for the series. And it looks like they're taking bigger risks even again with number 8. But obviously the sales of Resident Evil 7, the reception it got critically were obviously enough to give Capcom that confidence to say, you know what? We can move this franchise forward. We can still have the old, bring the new, combine a little bit of both, and voila, secret for success. And I think because Resident Evil 7 resonated with more fans on a good side, a lot of us are really excited to see where they take 8. And I mean, the graphics, you've seen the trailers and stuff, and it looks absolutely phenomenal. The character detail and stuff are right out there. So, dude, like I said, man, I can't wait to see where they take this story. And if they do have to kill off a character, it's going to suck. But you know what? We got to start falling in love with other characters. It's like Gears. It sucks to see Marcus Phoenix kind of get the boot to the wayside, but the dude's starting to get old, Like at some point we got to retire these grandpas, just like our action heroes of old. Back in the day, I couldn't think of anybody but Arnold, but you know what? Then it was Vin Diesel, and to some extent even Keanu Reeves. You know what I mean? So generations and games have got to be the same. They have to pass the torch. You have to move the story forward, and sometimes in order for stories to be compelling, to be engaging, you got to take risks, and you got to do some things that people don't like, for better or for worse. Heck, The Last of Us 2 did it, and that's a big reason why The Last of Us 2 this year got so many Game of the Year nominations. Whether you agree with it or not, you have to admit Naughty Dog took some major risks, and for the most part, it seems like it paid off.
Yeah. No, that's a great point. Real quick, before we get you at it, before we let you go, Arnold, do you consider yourself an old, 80s guy that you don't have room? Is there any room for Arnold Schwarzenegger in 2020?
Of course there's boom, because I don't even have to get up and look great in the morning. Now they got all these special effects. My balls could be wrinkly, and they would find some sort of CGI to make it look like I was back to being a young stud, and my muscles are all tight and back to you again. Heck, one of these days I'm going to be sitting in my house, and somebody's going to call me up on the phone and say, "Do you want to do another Predator movie?" I'll be like, "No, man, I'm too old. I can't do it." And then they're just going to be like, "Well, no, that's okay, because we're going to add the CGI chopper, and we're going to put you back in there, and you're going to look like you were 20 years old again, and you're going to go out there and kick some ass." And that's what I'm saying, is that technology has come so far, is amazing, and honest to God, it's so cool. You get to see these people relived all over again. And, the 80s were a great time. The action films, to my personal opinion, they're still unprecedented. There's not so many out there that can touch some of the action movies of the 80s with the great special effects and the actual pyro. And now everything is CGI. My God, pretty soon porn's going to be all CGI. It's terrible. Just because it could save some money, let's do it this way. No, sometimes you got to keep it real.
Yeah, well, listen, I definitely appreciate you keeping it real, as always. Before we get clowns in on the conversation, I have to thank a couple of people. First of all, Percolator9000, a very generous friend of the show. He drops an outstanding $5 super chat. Says, "Hello, Mr. Boomstick. Hello, panel. Have a great show, everyone. I've been in the woods, so I'm behind on the news. Let's go." Well, listen, dude, you tuned into the right show because we're bringing you up to date. We have Dirt Gritty drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, "What's up, fellas? RE8 is going to be epic. Cannot wait." Yes, I absolutely agree. Dirt Gritty drops another outstanding $2 super chat and says, "I love that Chris is going to turn to a heel." You know what? he might be onto something there, because who knows? He actually might be the next Wesker. We don't know. And I know that it's probably pissing off poor Tempest Son as we speak. Clowns, listen, Resident Evil 7 did a lot for the series, the long-running franchise. Resident Evil 8 is looking to up the ante, bringing us back into Southern European aspects. We're going to see some snow. We're going to see some dank woods. We may even get some a feeling of that Resident Evil 4 vibe, but this time it's going to be in first person. What are your thoughts on the rumors that Chris could actually be the antagonist?
I gotta say this, and Tempest Son, I'm real sorry, man, but I haven't really followed Resident Evil as much as you guys, so I can't really say. I don't even know who's who in the Resident Evil series, except there's bad guys, So what I'm gonna say is this, right? Every story needs a twist, just like Halo had Evil Cortana. Every story needs a twist. If it was up to me, I would turn everybody into werewolves and have a whole new team come in and wipe them out. Or actually, why don't we do... No, don't give me that look. Tempest, you agree with me, Tempest.
Yeah, I love it.
Thumbs up, buddy. Hit me a thumbs up. Hit me a thumbs up. Thumbs up? No. I mean, what if we see the other side going forward in Resident Evil series? What if maybe they could split the series up, and they turn this team into like violent werewolves with like fangs and foam coming out of the mouth, very aggressive and tearing everybody apart. A new team comes in and maybe they wipe one of them out, that Chris guy or whatever his name is, I don't know, that guy, wipe him out. And then the next Resident Evil, maybe you can play as the bad guys, as the werewolf clan, or as the agents. And maybe in the next one, if you're a werewolf, maybe you can turn all the agents into werewolves. I don't know. That's just my idea. And I would think that it'd be really cool for twists like that in games. So I'm all for it, man. Let's take the good guys and let's twist it up and let's throw them into the pit and let's change them to vampires, werewolves, zombies, whatever we gotta do, and make the story cool.
Well, I'm gonna say this, Clowns. You have been removed from the writing team for anything Resident Evil going forward. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
I second that.
I know you would. Mag, let's get your opinion on it.
Yeah,
I don't know how big of a Resident Evil fan you are, but look, they are. I think there's a deep fake here. I don't see Chris being the bad guy. I think maybe because he's working for Blue Umbrella, who we still don't know who they are. They are supposedly the good guys, supposedly, as opposed to the old Umbrella, which of course were the scumbags of the universe that created this virus, in the T virus and the G virus. But we don't really have a lot to go on. We do know that Chris is kind of acting like a D-bag. There's no doubt about it. But can he go over the line and be a full-on Wesker type character?
No. I don't think so. But you know what? I'll play both sides of the fence here for a second. I don't think it is. I think it is a deep fake, and I do believe it that for we talked about it earlier. Even like in a Hollywood movie, whenever you watch like a trailer for a film, what do? They do that deep fake stuff all the time, and you're like, "Oh, Spider-Man's gonna die in the next movie," and you're like, "No, he's not." They just have him going, "Ah!" and then there's an explosion, and then you think he's dead. And then all of a sudden you realize that those two shots weren't even like within 40 minutes of each other. You know what I mean? They just splice it all together to make it look, thrilling and scary and all that kind of stuff, whatever. Anyways, and then they did the same thing with Star Wars Episode 8. Kylo Ren and Rey were standing there talking and he's like, "Come with me, Rey." And then she reaches out her hand and everybody's like, "That's it. She's turning to the dark side. I knew it." And then you find out that they're actually nowhere near the same scene. They just do that to give you that sort of what the hell is the word I'm looking at? Oh, sorry, it's that false narrative. And they do that thing. It's called like a false narrative. What they do is that they try to draw you in to create conversation, right? And by doing that, that's a marketing technique. And they do that in order to create buzz, create talk, and get people all excited about it. And all of a sudden they're like, well, guess what they're doing? Now they're advertising your product because everybody's talking about it. What are we doing right now? We're talking about Resident Evil 8. Now the chat's listening to it. We're listening to it. The people on the replay are you hearing it. The people on Twitter who are watching or who are going to watch our show later in the week, they're going to hear all it. So it succeeds, right? So what you're doing is you're creating a little drama, you're creating a little controversy, and you never know. Maybe he is done. Maybe he did go to the dark side or whatever.
Ooh.
Now he's pissed off. You know what? Think about this. If you sat around and had to eat plants for 20 years and picking up 2 bullets at a time, maybe you'd snap too. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you'd snap too and be like, I'm sick of these plants. Give me food. Anyhow, you never know. I don't believe it for 1 second. I don't believe it for 1 second. I just think that it's exactly what it is. It's manufactured drama in order to create a conversation, right? And by the way, Boom, in terms of being a big Resident Evil fan, I will bend the knee to only one other human that is a bigger Resident Evil fan than me, and that is you, Boom. And I'll tell you why. We've talked about this before.
They were absurd.
Oh my God, they were
big.
I mean, Laserdisc looked smaller compared to those bloody things. Anyway, so I'm sitting there and I'm looking at it and I see this thing, Resident Evil, and I look up at the screen and the guy with his little bubble screen, he's sitting there playing it. And I said, what the hell is that? And he goes, oh, dude, it's this new thing, man. It's like Resident Evil. You gotta buy it. So I'm like, okay. So I bought it, and it was the greatest thing I've ever done in my entire life. I fell in love with Resident Evil ever since then. I have never stopped playing Resident Evil ever since that day, and I played them multiple times. But you see, here's where I get proud, and this is where I got to bend the knee to Boom, because I sit there and be like, yeah, Boom, I finished it. I did four playthroughs and got 100% on this and that, whatever. And then Boom will come back and be like, I did 27 playthroughs this week alone, and now I unlocked the sushi guy. And I'm like, what the hell? Anyways, I'm super excited for the game. I'm super, super pumped. When I saw that was, did they show it at the PlayStation show? Did they not?
They did, yes.
Okay,
yes.
I was watching that PlayStation show, and I mean, I was jazzed for the whole show. I really enjoyed it. But I got to tell you, man, when that Resident Evil came up and it just went up, and then the 8 showed up, and I literally jumped up and screamed. I
jumped out of my chair. Yeah.
Oh, I scared the crap out of my kids who were just sitting on the floor playing with a puzzle, and I was just like, yeah. And especially the setting. The setting that's my jam. Like, if you want to really get me in one of those real hardcore nostalgic moods in the middle of winter, snowing outside. Sorry, Tempest, you don't know anything about
place.
it. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Dead of winter, at least up here in the northern part of the world, right? We got snow going on outside, got a bottle of wine, got a couple of beers, got the lights down, got the fire going. And what do I sit down and watch? I'll sit down and watch 1950s Vincent Price movies. Like the kind with like the fog on the ground.
The House on Haunted Hill.
Yeah. The House on Haunted Hill is my favorite Vincent Price movie ever. And
fantastic.
You get like the gothic looks, the gothic, decor, and 3 feet of fog on the ground, and it's all cool, and everybody's walking around with lanterns. I love that. And then when I saw that in this game, I instantly was like, holy Jesus, even if I had to pay extra, I want it early. I want this game. So anyways, sorry to get off topic there. I was just gushing about Resident Evil because that's my thing, no pun intended. So anyhow, the thing is, he is not going to be a bad guy, okay? But what I do think is that, like I said, it's the deep fake thing, okay? But as for killing, what's his name's wife there, Ethan's wife?
Yeah.
I would have killed the bitch in the first one. I would have killed her in episode 7. He forgave her 3 times, and she's like, sorry, honey. And then he kept going after her.
I
think we're going to have a Resident Evil trivia night here between you, Boom, and Tempest,
Boom.
Man. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. I'm down. Hey, Boom, real quick. I got a theory for you. Yeah. What if the werewolf on the other side of Chris's face in the promotional material is Ethan? What if half the game you're Ethan and the other half you're Chris?
That's actually a pretty good. You know what? I'll bite on that one. No pun intended. I will bite on that one.
I want that because one thing I didn't like about 7 was Ethan, and it's not that I didn't like Ethan. It's like I had no attachment to him. You never saw what he looked like.
He's a new character. Yeah,
new character. Don't know what he looks like. You barely hear the guy. And to be frank, it was just that was my worst. That was my least favorite part about 7. So.
I actually enjoyed it because it gave me that clean slate. That I didn't have to go back and go, oh, right. When was the last time we saw Redfield? Was it? Oh, he was in Africa or whatever, right? I can't remember off the top of my head. And you're going through all of these in your head, and then and then the Jill Valentines and all this. This gave you a complete clean slate. It started you in that house or going up the driveway to that house in the southern United States. And that sort of Louisiana sort of vibe, and that thing. And then there's a whole new character. I just felt like it was so refreshing that first of all, I played it multiple times, and these days, with as busy as I am these days, it's really hard for me to get multiple playthroughs of a single game. I cannot stop playing that game. And every time if I ever have the hankering, I'll go back and just start playing it again because I absolutely adore it. So I like the clean slate. But anyway, that's just me. Sorry.
Yeah. I'm done.
And I'm done too.
Yeah, everyone has their different takes of Resident Evil, where they remember. For me, Resident Evil, it just is. It's such a. It means a lot to me because of the fun that I had with my brother. Like, I never forget Resident Evil 1 when we got it on the PlayStation, and it was something like out of like a movie. It was me and my brother, and it was about 8 friends. It was like 10 of us in this little room. And we're all huddled over the TV. The TV is probably, I don't know, like a 13-inch TV. It's like, you're a kid, so you have a small TV in your room. And I'll never forget the first time the dogs broke through the window in that hallway.
Oh my God.
In the hallway?
That gets everybody, dude.
We
That gets
all
everybody.
fell back. Imagine 10 big kids falling back on each other, laughing our heads off that we just had this happen. I'm still talking about it, giving me goosebumps. But yeah, that's what Resident Evil means for me. I cannot wait to play 8. But listen, I do want to go on to the last topic. This one is a fun one. And I kind of want to really get the chat involved here because, listen, 2020 for a lot of reasons has been a crummy year. But for gaming, it's been pretty awesome. Now, we know that some of the last games that are coming out are probably the biggest ones, one of which is apparently a huge surprise, and that is Phoenix Rising. It's getting incredible reviews, and if they're saying that it has a very, very similar look to it to, of course, Breath of the Wild, which is one of my favorite Nintendo games of all time, especially Zelda games of all time. And we also have Cyberpunk coming out as well. But why want to look forward? I kind of want to look in the crystal ball and get everyone's, gauge everyone's opinion. Now, some of this is going to be guesstimation because we don't know exactly what potentially is coming out in 2021 because of COVID. We don't know if anything has been tremendously delayed, but I want to get the one or two games that you are most excited for. And we're going to start with our special guest. Noof, there's a lot to look forward to in 2021 in gaming. We have the new consoles under our belts, right? We think there's going to be a new Nintendo, like a pro version of the Switch coming. We do have it on some authority that Breath of the Wild 2 will be releasing next year, but we don't know. For you, what are 2 games you are most excited for next year?
Well, first off, if you don't get rid of that damn stamina meter in Zelda, it's going to be Zelda. I ran out of breath in the wild. But as far as excitement, boy, it's hard to say. I mean, there's a lot of games have been pushed back the next year, but I mean, one that really stands out to me because it'll be the sequel to one of, well, I hope it comes next year. It'll be the sequel to one of my favorite games in the last few years, and that is Hellblade 2.
Yes.
So I'm really excited about that. I'm just trying to think of some other games that might have been pushed back. And obviously Halo Infinite, if it should come out next year, I'm still excited for it. Can't wait to see what they do with it. I don't know. I don't know if anybody can name off a couple, and I'll let you know if I'm excited for it or not. But I'm drawing blanks here all of a sudden.
Well, you definitely have the Batman, the Bat Family game with the coming out next year for sure. That's
you
one
got Outriders. You got
Outriders next year as well. Yeah.
Yep. Hitman.
And I got
3
rid of
is
my
coming
Switch
next
again,
year.
so I'm excited for nothing on that.
Damn it, Noof, again.
Well,
Newfoundlands, baby.
Yeah. What did I do? What did I do? I sold the Switch. I can't remember what I did for the Switch. I sold it and bought something. Oh yeah, I think I might have sold it and got the Oculus Quest 2, but whatever. Yeah. There you go.
Well, I mean, listen, again, first of all, it's not really fair because this was a topic that you would have prepared for. You obviously jumped into the show late, so I didn't get a chance to send you the show notes. But, I mean, listen, we'll come back around to you after you hear everyone else bring theirs up. Let's go to Clowns. Clowns, for you, again, 2020 is almost behind us. We're a month away from literally a month and a couple of days from the new year. January, February, and March have become as big as the 4 months for gaming. So we could be getting a significant amount of big games. For you, what are you most excited about?
Um, to be honest with you, I there, there's not a whole lot that has really piqued my interest. I was really excited for Ubisoft games, right? Really excited for the Watch Dogs and for Valhalla. So Immortals Phoenix Rising, I was iffy on this one, right? And a friend of the show, Flamish, and a fellow Four Guys member, keeps talking about it. So now my interest is really peaked on Immortals Phoenix Rising. So I think I'm going to end up getting that and checking it out. I'm also excited for some more indie stuff. I think there's a game called 12 Minutes that's
Oh,
about to
dude,
come
That's
that
out.
looks
there, right there. That was on my list,
fantastic.
clowns.
Yes.
That's a good pick.
Yeah, that just looks really good, man. Like
Mm.
it looks really exciting, and I think I'm looking forward to that one, man. And Hitman 3, I like the Hitman series, so I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. Yeah, those are great picks. Cyber, let's go to you, brother. What's at the top of your list for next year? And it doesn't have to have 3 A's next to it. It can be a small
Oh
game.
yeah. So the top of my list, the tippity top. I want to say Gotham Knights, but I think my most into not my most one of the games that I was really looking forward to was the one that Collins just mentioned, 12 minutes. I think it's indie games sometimes don't get as much appreciation as they should. And 12 minutes is probably one of those games that I'm really looking forward to. There are a ton of games that I'm looking forward to next year, but that one is probably at the top right now for me. But I have a tons of others too if you want to hear them after the
No,
panel
please,
goes.
but no, go crazy. It's all right.
Go crazy. All right, cool. So Outriders looks fantastic. I'm a sucker for that looter shooter, Hitman 3, love that series. They IO Interactive did something amazing when they did that soft reboot with Hitman and Hitman 2. What else do I have here? Shoot, I just had my list. Where'd it go? Sorry guys. Shoot, I lost my list. Okay. Oh yeah, Crossfire X. I want to really play that campaign. It was supposed to release this year. Who knows what happened? Obviously, I said Gotham Knights. Obviously, Halo Infinite. Come on, we need Halo Infinite to deliver. We obviously do, and if it comes out next year, obviously it's going to be one of those big games that I'm looking forward to. Far Cry 6.
Yes, me too.
Far Cry 6. I love the
Yes.
Yes.
I played Far Cry 5, so Far Cry 6. Come on, Ubisoft, do it justice. And also, if you haven't played it, Bright Memory Infinite. I'm really
Bright Memory was a nice snippet into what we're going to get.
But Bright Memory Infinite, which is going to be the sequel to Bright Memory, I think it's going to be a good game for next year too. So yeah, those are kind of what the games that I wrote down here that I could recall. 12 minutes is one of. Oh, also I forgot about this. The Mass Effect. I know this is a remaster, so I want to play the Mass Effect remastered next year. I think that's going to be a good one too. So yeah, those are my picks.
Yeah, I'll throw mine into the hat real quick. They're smaller. Listen, I'll say this. One of my most anticipated games is Halo Infinite because I want Master Chief to return in a big way. I don't know what kind of development hell they're currently in. We know, listening to Phil Spencer in that interview, he did say that he's playing the game and he's quite enjoying it. And obviously that work has to get done. He did admit that, and he did admit that showing the game was a mistake. And obviously he took full responsibility for that. If they take as much time as they need and they somehow could bring back Master Chief on his 20th anniversary, which is November 15th of 2021, and Halo Infinite looks like the next-gen masterpiece that we want, all will be forgiven. That's one of the big ones for me. The two smaller ones, one of which is being made by one person. A lot of people forgot about this game, is Tunic, because I'm such a big Zelda fan of the classic Zelda. Tunic looks incredible, and also The Ascent. The cyberpunk type of game that is kind of like Diablo meets cyberpunk. I am very excited for those three particular titles. Let's go to Tempest Son. Tempest, for you, what rings your bell for 2021 in games? What are you most excited for?
Well, to start, no doubt, Cyberpunk is going to bleed into 2021. So technically, I will still be playing it. I'm pretty damn sure.
For sure.
So Cyberpunk for sure. Like I said at the start of the show, Phoenix Rising or Immortals Phoenix Rising. I'm actually really looking forward to that. Seeing the reviews on it, more footage of it is kind of blowing me away. Honestly, it's like a little gem that just hit us all of a sudden, you know. But for strictly next year, Cyber said it, man. The Mass Effect trilogy, the remaster. You know, it's Mass Effect 1 is in my like top 3 games of all time. So sign me up, dude. I really hope they do more than just give it a higher resolution and better frame rate. Here's to hoping. I don't know. For me, I guess my list might be a little bit odd, but I Battlefield, the new Battlefield, whatever it is, Battlefield 6, Battlefield, whatever, Modern Combat. I don't know what they're going to call it, but I feel like it's going to be a modern, you know, game, Modern Warfare game, or maybe slightly in the future. But they need to go back to that time frame. They just need they need to tackle what made Battlefield 4 so good, at least after the patches, of course, and they just expand upon that. That's what they need to do. For me, Age of Empires 4. Personally, those are some of my favorite games. I love them so much. And 4 looks incredible, absolutely incredible. I hope it hits in 21. And of course, Halo Infinite. I mean, yeah, it didn't look great. It didn't. It needs. It just needs more time in the oven. But gameplay wise, it looked phenomenal. I absolutely love the look of it, at least the gameplay, like how it played. So definitely looking forward to that. And I will say this, I challenge anybody to go into Halo 5's multiplayer. I challenge you to not have a good time. It's phenomenal still.
It really is.
So Halo's still got the chops. It's still the best, you know, sci-fi shooter there is. They just need to take their chops on the 4 campaign and the 5 multiplayer and just make a baby out of it. So
yeah, that's a great point. I mean, obviously, the best part of Halo 5 was no doubt. I mean, again, listen, I'm not going to jump on Halo 5. Listen, you know my opinion about it. Game looked amazing. It looked unbelievably good. Just the story for me, as a diehard Halo fan, did not hit on all cylinders, and that's fine. That's fine. But multiplayer was as good as it always was, and Warzone was ridiculously fantastic. Let's get middle-aged gamer guy into the conversation. For you, 2020 is shaping up to be a great year for gaming. Not a great year for the world. We all understand that. But 2021 is again shaping up to leverage a lot of big games that were held off due to some of the challenges of working from home in 2020. For you, what is on your radar for some of your top picks?
Well, I got to tell you, Far Cry 6 is right up there as I would say my top 2 most anticipated games. I mean, not only am I a huge Far Cry fan, there's something about their villains that you just love to hate because they're so nasty and whatever. And of course, you've got Giancarlo Esposito as the bad guy. I mean, come on. How can you go wrong? You know, he's the Grand Moff, man. Come on, from Mandalorian, like, you know, and then of course from Breaking Bad and everything else, he's going to be magnificent. Plus the setting, the possibility of like a semi-developing world, third world sort of urban city setting is a lot different than like just, you know, wandering around through like the country bumpkin, you know, areas like in all those other Far Cry games. You're just kind of, you know, going through the fields and going through the hills and this and that, tropical locations. Now it looks like you're going to get some kind of an urban setting. So you might have sort of like a Division kind of vibe to it, you know, or maybe even a Call of Duty vibe. The other one is Tempest had already said it. You stole it from me. Battlefield 6. I am absolutely super pumped for that game. I don't care what anybody says. I absolutely adored Battlefield 5. Yeah, it had a couple of problems at the beginning. It was very slow to get it going, very much like Battlefront, like Star Wars Battlefront 2. Never mind the egregious business with the pay-to-win nonsense. But I'm talking about in terms of releasing content. But you cannot deny, if you turn on Battlefield 5 right now for your Xbox Series X or for your PS5, it is still the best-looking game that's been made.
Looks phenomenal.
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
any system. There is not
I'm
a
gonna do
game
it.
that's
I'm gonna do
outright.
it. All right.
Oh, dude, you got to do it, man. It's such a good game.
You know what's
And-
crazy? The patch is coming for that game for the Series X.
Exactly, and it looks phenomenal now. I was actually playing it with a couple of community members. I'm like, my God, this is the best looking game I've seen. I challenge any game that looks any better than that game already, and that's 2 years old. Imagine what they're going to do with complete next gen. With complete next-gen tools. It's going to be unbelievable. Now, is it actually going to be Battlefield 6? I'm excited with the thought of they're obviously going to go back to, well, not obvious, but maybe modern times. Could it finally be the coveted Bad Company 3 that everybody's been asking for? Or could it be the other one that everybody's been asking for, a full-fledged Vietnam? I mean, we've done World War I, we've done World War II. Why not go up the ranks and go Korean War or maybe Vietnam, and then maybe what's it called, the Black Ops there, Cold War? That's the 80s. So it's either going to be modern, or you might even throw in a Korean War / Vietnam. Who knows? But I'm excited for that. The third one, boy, are you ever going to think, man, you thought you knew the mag, but you don't know the mag. I got a candle in my window right now for Hogwarts Legacy because I am. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Ear to ear.
I am the biggest Harry Potter nerd on the face of this planet, and I'm not going to lie to you guys. I was telling Tempest before the show, I went to Disney World in Florida in late February, right before the COVID hit. Thank God. And it literally, the whole outbreak happened the week I got home. So thank God.
Oh, wow.
Anyways, I was at Universal Studios and I went to the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. And never mind my kids or my wife, I literally stood there in Diagon Alley in tears. I swear to God, in tears. I was literally weeping like a child that I finally made it there. Because you don't
that
understand.
butterbeer?
Yeah, that place is.
Dude, I
that place
did
is
everything.
awesome.
I had the butterbeer. I went to the 3 broomsticks. I went, it's unbelievable. And I took more pictures than I did with myself with the Harry Potter stuff. My kids weren't even in the damn pictures. It was just me. My wife was like,
Did you get a wand? Did you get a wand? Come on.
Obviously. Come on, man.
Okay, I'm just asking, man.
This is not up the road like Tempest.
Okay.
This is not up the road like Tempest. He can just go, let's go to Wizarding World of Harry Potter. Like, this is across the damn continent for me, right? So, anyways, point is, Hogwarts Legacy looks absolutely amazing, and it looks exactly what I'm looking for. An open world RPG set in the Harry Potter universe. Are you kidding me? That's amazing. You might be looking for Horcruxes. You might be doing all this, solving puzzles, going to mysterious places and all that. Like, oh man, I'm so excited for that. Now, so those are my 3 big picks for what I'm waiting for. Honorable mentions, I'm going to give an honorable mention to Halo Infinite. However, I am going to 100% reserve judgment until that game is in my hands.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I am not gonna fall for the hype. I am sorry. I am a diehard Xbox owner. There's no question. I'm a multi-console owner, but I put my head on the Xbox at night, Xbox pillow at night. However, I am not gonna jump on the Halo hype train until that game is in my hands. That's the first one. Dying Light 2. Where the hell did you go?
Yeah.
Okay, Dying
We
Light
saw that
1.
years ago. Yeah.
Dying Light 1 was my favorite zombie game I've ever played, even more so than Resident Evil. I don't know why. It just stuck with me.
Well, that was real horror, especially if you went out at night. It was terrifying.
Jesus, that game was amazing. And it was gory as hell. I absolutely adored that. The other honorable mention, God of War Ragnarok. By the way, I'm just putting it as an honorable mention because I'll bet you my balls it ain't coming in 2021.
Yeah,
if you believe that it's coming in 2021, like they said, like Dance Moves told us, I got a bridge to sell you in New York City. Okay, so don't hold your breath. Little Nightmares 2 is coming out in February. If anybody wants to play an absolutely stunning, polished, somewhat double A sort of indie game, play Little Nightmares. Little Nightmares. Did you play it, Boom?
Yeah, I got the collector's edition.
Yeah, so did I. I absolutely adored that. Oh, sorry, I didn't get the collector's edition. I got like the deluxe edition with all the DLC and stuff. Sorry. But yeah, I got that. I absolutely adored it. Little Nightmares 2 comes out in February. The other one that I'm actually really looking forward to, and this is the last one I'm going to mention, it's on the PlayStation 5, and I will be getting it day one. It's called Kena Bridge of Spirits.
Oh, dude,
that looks awesome.
That game looks so goddamn beautiful. It looks like a painting has come alive, and I cannot wait to play that game whenever it comes out. But they did promise it's coming 2021. So
yeah,
I'm super excited for those. So those are my games. As for Phoenix Rising, I'm actually not allowed to talk about it. So I can tell you one thing is that actually while we were doing the show tonight, half an hour ago, IGN posted their review, and they gave it a 7 based on the fact that everything was stunning about it, except they said the puzzles were a little ho-hum.
Well, I've
that
seen
was it.
9s, I've seen 8s, I've seen 8.5s. You know,
Yeah,
listen,
like they literally dropped it to 7 because of that. And I'm like, well, what about everything else? I looked at it saying the game is gorgeous. It's funny. It's got excellent writing, great gameplay, excellent combat. And I'm like, okay, this sounds fantastic. And they're like, but the puzzles are a little bit down the middle of the road. I'm like, really? That's 3 points?
So that's 3 points. Yeah, that's more like a point. That's
like I would give it like an 8.5 to 9, judging by what he was saying. But anyways, that's all I'm allowed to say about that. But anyways, the point is, those are the games I'm looking forward to 2021.
Well, I mean, this is great picks from everybody. Great picks from the chat. I've seen a lot of people looking forward towards 2021. I think the reality is everyone can't wait to get the hell out of 2020 because it blew complete chunks for everyone, health wise, game wise. We were all good. Game wise, I'm going to be honest with you. I still marvel at the fact that not only did we get 2 new consoles, we got technically 3 with the Series S. And we also got a ridiculous amount of games, and 2 more are coming at the end of the year in Cyberpunk 2077, which I have the collector's edition, and that is sold out, super rare, hard to find. I cannot wait to unbox that. And of course, Phoenix Rising, which I have the $100 edition. And you know what? How I only paid what I want to pay for, like $30. They're $38 for, because I had 70,000 Xbox points that I cashed in for a $70 gift card, and nice. There you go. But listen, folks, this has been a great show. I want to thank everybody. We had over 400 people here. Hopefully you enjoyed the show enough to hit the like button. Hopefully you'll be tuning in to Thursday's Xbox Factor podcast and Friday's Breakfast with Boom. Just to give people the heads up, a little bit of a programming update. I know that I've been doing shows on Tuesday. I am going to go back to the regular 3 produced shows per week. The 4th show was slowly killing me. It really was. I did not have enough time for myself. I did not have enough time to actually game. And I think it was hurting the writing that I do. So I'm going back to a regular schedule programming of 3 shows per week. When something big happens, I will do a special edition show, but just want to give people the heads up because it was becoming a little much. 4 shows a week is very difficult to produce. 3 is difficult, but I enjoy doing it. Adding the 4th was, I think, stretching myself a little bit too far. But of course, I want to thank the panel for being here. And let's get into the outros and get everyone out of here. And we're going to start first with our special guest, Noof Nukem. First of all, thanks for jumping in. You filled a spot that was absent from Gaming Forte. He must have gotten stuck at work, and hopefully he is doing well. Noof, why don't you tell everyone not only about where they can reach out to you on social media, but more importantly, talk about your awesome podcast that seems to be gaining some serious ground on YouTube.
Well, speaking of Gaming Forte and my awesome podcast, Forte will be a guest tomorrow night on Gaming After Dark. He was our guest last week, but due to, I guess, he was supposed to be on our podcast, but then ended up doing another one of his own, and he kind of forgot that he was, supposed to be on mine, so he didn't make most of the show. He came in toward the last half, but so he's supposed to make a full appearance tomorrow night, along with a first-time debut from a guy that we know as a really good supporter of our content. He's in the chat right now. That would be Doggy Dog 420. So I can't wait to have Doggy Dog come on and say his piece about everything. It's going to be fantastic. And as always, one of my co-hosts is in this particular podcast, and can't wait to have him back with us tomorrow night. He's got some exciting developments to tell you about regarding one of his segments on the show, and that is the Middle-Aged Game Guy, better known as the Mag. And just back to that last question about games, if this game comes out in 2021, you can count this as my most anticipated so far. That would be Horizon Forbidden West.
Yes, great one. That's a
Ooh.
great pick, dude.
So
Forgot
that
about
would be it. And I like that Kena one as well. I actually had the Game Informer magazine was reading up on that, and that game looks absolutely dynamite. So good stuff. But yeah, that's my podcast, Gaming After Dark, tomorrow night, Tuesday evening on my YouTube channel with myself, Titan Drago, the Mag, Gaming Forte, and Doggy Dog are the guests. And I'm hoping to bring back Community Game Night on Saturday evening. I haven't decided on which game yet. If you guys have suggestions, please email them to me or whatever, or send them to me through Twitter. I want to try to do that this Saturday night, so I'll keep you posted on that. But that's about it for me. It was an absolute fantastic blast to be here with you guys. Cyberdocs, Clowns, Tempest, Mag, and always Mr. Boomstick. Thanks for the invite. Glad to be here. And Arnold is always willing to come back whenever you need him. So thanks again for having me. It's been a lot of fun.
Well, thank you so much for being here. Definitely appreciate you jumping in at the last minute. It was great to have you on, as always. We'll go to Cybernox. Cyber, why don't you do me a favor, brother? Tell everyone about where they could reach out to you on social media, but more importantly, subscribe to your YouTube channel.
Yeah, guys, thanks so much. I love being here on Monday nights with you guys. Love talking games. Noof, always coming through, man. I love the podcast tomorrow, Gaming After Dark. I can't listen live, but when I do listen, I am laughing my ass off consistently. You guys do a tremendous job, man. Find me everywhere, guys. Cybernox on Twitter. If you guys want to see, I did a quick unboxing, something super simple. I posted on my YouTube channel, Cybernox there as well. So if you want to see my new haircut, just go there and take a look. It's absolutely, I love it. But yeah, on Xbox too, if you guys want to go ahead and game, just hit me up there. I'm right now running through Destiny, and I can't get enough of it. But can't wait till next Monday, talk some more games with you guys. And yeah, everybody have a good night.
Well, thank you so much for being here as always. And yeah, we're looking forward to already the next show. Next, Tempest Son, brother, why don't we get you on out of here? I know that you got to go help the wife with the kids. Hopefully they're sleeping. Oh, they're not sleeping. They're wide awake. Hey, buddy, why don't you do me a favor, Tempest? Tell everyone where they can follow you. And I won't say what I normally say. Where can people get assassinated by you on social media?
On social media, it's at the Tempest Son, and it is Tempest Son with a space, my gamer tag. Thank you for having me on the show. I got one kid to sleep during the show. I'm working on number 2 here, but I could just put him to bed now. It's pretty late, so I'm gonna go do that. Listen, and tonight I'm playing Valhalla, getting some game time in.
Nice,
swear by it.
Nice, man.
You should have just let your kids play Animal Crossing. They'd be snoring away.
Yeah, true. I should play it when I need to sleep. How about that?
Well, Tempest, thank you so much for being here, brother. And of course, definitely appreciate your opinions. Next up, Clowns, you've been doing a lot of work on Four Guys with Quarters. You've really been bringing in some big talent. Why don't you tell everyone about your podcast? But more importantly, where can people reach out to you on social media?
Yeah, everybody can find me at Italian Clowns on all social media. Four Guys Recorders, almost everywhere now. We're probably on every streaming service, including India. We made top 93 video game podcasts in Canada.
Nice, dude.
Pod charts. And we made the top 200 in the UK and Ireland as well. So I'm very surprised that our feeds do better than our actual live shows, but it is what it is. And coming up for interviews, we got Jim Hydel from EA. We got Jimmy Palmiotti. I got David Housden, who's a musical composer. I got Greg from White Paper Games. I'm going to have somebody on from Team Bloober. And I think that's what I got scheduled so far. I have to sort through my emails, but we got a lot of interviews actually coming up. I'm not even close to done with interviews. And
nice, dude.
I think I'm just going to keep it up, man.
Well, listen, it's great to see that you're doing some good work over there, and it's great that you have the not only respect but the confidence in the industry to bring some of these big-time actresses and actors on, as well as developers. That's a big deal, and we are here to support you, Clowns. And we're glad to see that it's going so well for you. And last, and in no way least, because he is the loudest of the panel, Mag, why don't you tell everyone about where you're going to be tomorrow night, and more importantly, what are you doing on social media?
Well, sorry, my son just woke up. He's I'm just gonna rock him to bed right now.
I love it.
Daddy, you're a fraud. Stop saying things that your mother says. Okay. Anyways, in all seriousness, sorry about that. Yes, you can find me, of course, right here every Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Primetime Gaming with Mr. Boomstick XL and friends and guests. And every Tuesday night, that's right, Tuesday night Eastern Standard Time, 10 p.m., you can find me on Gaming After Dark with none other than the guest here tonight, Noof Nukem and Titan Drago. And yes, we have some guests tomorrow night, Doggy Dog 420, and we have Gaming Forte. And it's going to be one hell of a ride, as it always is. You can follow me on Twitter at the Middle Age Game Guy. That's with a GY at the end. And yes, I'm always up to some hijinks. If anybody saw my last video, I post video.
That was actually quite funny. Quite funny.
I've got a whole whack of them coming out. So stay tuned because, man, I've got ideas for days, and I plan on executing them. Also, you can follow me on the PlayStation 5 and on the Xbox Series X under the same name, all one word, all capitals, because I don't know how to be quiet. I am the Mag. You can follow me there. Anyways, guys, it was a great show as always. Boom, thank you so much for having me. As always, everybody have a great night. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, and everyone, and like I said, thank you so much for supporting Double Barrel Gaming and this particular show each and every Monday evening. We love doing this. We love being here for your entertainment, and we don't ask for much. But if you are enjoying the content, before you get on out of here, make sure you hit that like button and share this out on social media to maybe get some other gamers to listen to this program. And of course, we'll be back next Monday evening. But I'm going to close out the show with something that's important to me. Hopefully, one day it'll be important to you, and that's something that my dad taught me, and I think it goes a long way, especially in the current times that we're dealing with. And he used to say, son, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, and I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone, and we'll see you next week on the newest episode of Primetime Gaming with Mr. Boomstick and Friends.